Right, I've decided to change the valve stem oil seals without taking the head off. Cam belt is off, camshafts are out. It's all over there on the bench, as you can just see at the top. And actually, I've done these here. The order was kind of unimportant, but this is the last one, and I thought I would just remember to take a video in case it's useful. And always when you do the last one, you've got the experience of doing all the other ones. So actually, one of the inlets, cylinder 1, the keepers or collets as some might call them, were very stubborn, so I believe it is recommended, in fact I think it's even in the manual, you go around and you give them a tap. Right, this is just a large spark plug socket. Give them a good tap. I believe you can almost hear them rattling when you know they're free. And the reason for doing this is when we put the compressor tool on, sometimes they just don't want to budge. And it's kind of interesting that one of the inlets on cylinder 1, one of the inlets on cylinder 2, the same side, very stubborn. Cylinder number 1, I had to whack it so hard that one of the collets popped out. Then there was a bit of a brown trousers moment because the collet dropped down. Luckily, didn't disappear into the sump. So if you're going to do it, and if you do have to hit it very hard, make sure socket stays in contact with the top of the valve spring holder, and then stick your sort of magnet pen down through the socket hole. If there are any loose collets there, keepers, whatever you want to call them, then at least they'll find the magnet, and when you take it off, you're not hunting for them and you don't have a brown trousers moment. I mean, so far it's just 2 out of 12, and I'm willing to bet it's going to be 2 out of 16, but let's see. So that's first step. Obviously I haven't removed the rockers, I've just tilted them up. I know these are done because they're all back down again. Next tool is the spring compressor. I'm going to start over here just because I don't know, I like starting over here. This tool very useful, very cheap, does the job fantastically. Yeah, goes on like that, you can rotate it. So just drop this one down over top of the valve spring cover, then sort of start your alignment a bit, button these down. Okay, need to rotate it a bit more because it's need to give myself a nice wide aperture for when the keepers come out. Then with a 17mm socket for this one, I'm just going to wind it in, and if they're nice and free, they immediately show themselves. So now the spring is going down, the valve is not. The keepers are showing themselves. That's a nice easy one, which of course 10 out of the previous 12 were as well. I've got to get my magnet pen stick. So let me give you a better view of what it is I'm about to do. I'm just going to stick that down in there. So you catch one, you should be able to catch the other one on the way out, and should be no risk of them dropping anywhere if your magnet stick is a good one. This one is, despite the fact it's made of cheapness. Right, I'm just going to pop this on the bench. And I mean, just out of interest, you can put a rag on here. I mean, there's no need to use something as hefty as this. It's really not very significant. Some people may ask, well, am I just going to move over to this one and do that one? No, I'm just doing the one by one. It's so easy to take this compressor on and off that there's just no need for going overboard. done there. You know, as you can see, I'm also not doing these up more than finger tight. Really doesn't seem necessary. Whilst the springs might be high spring rate for valves, they're certainly not a high spring rate for, you know, car suspension. Alright, we lift out the big spring, and because this is a B18C, got double springs on the bench, and this will save you a lot of pain. Another cheap tool, and we just pop that around the valve stem oil seal. We grip very hard and we twist and we pull. So grip it really hard, twist and pull, and it comes off nice and easy. Now, what I did find the first time as I was doing the inlets earlier, whoever put these in put the exhaust stem seals on every valve. Now, while that is not considered to be correct, I think it's better that you put the exhaust one on all of them than putting the inlet on all of them. So this is exhaust. Show part number. There is the part number. The 11 is the exhaust and the 10 is the inlet. Now, I just have a look down at my valve guide. Don't see any debris there. I'm just going to put a tiny bit of oil on this. Some people say you should put tape over the stem of the valve to avoid, you know, any potential nicks on the seal. I'm just going to use my fingers and gently go over the top of the stem, and then gently go past the notch, and I push it down with 2 fingers. Then, yeah, we have another tool. So the inner part of this is nearly 11 mil, so it's like 10.85 or something as I measured it. Goes over the top. You can actually push with your hand and you'll feel the seal go down, and as some people will say, you just give it the tap of love. You can hear a change in the tone when it is not moving any further. You can check with a pick, and by the way, you must have a pick. This is very important. The gap between the bottom of the valve stem seal and the lower part of the valve guide is about 1 millimeter. Now, what I didn't mention was the string, so I decided to go with the string method. There is about 60 centimeters or 2 feet of string down in there. You rotate this one, because I'm on for cylinders 2 and 3, you just bring cylinder 1 up to top dead center, which you can find on your pulley wheel. Push 60 centimeters, so 60 centimeters even up to where my fingers are here. 60 centimeters is enough. You don't have to go overboard. Push it down, and then turn your crank pulley until it will come to a dead stop, and you'll feel firm. Don't go beyond that. You'll know when to stop. So that is now crushed up against the inside, and so far it's worked on one of the valves. Hopefully it works for all 4. I'd be surprised if it didn't. Okay, so we've put the valve seat in place. Now we want to put the springs back in. So, inner spring, outer spring, just sort of generally position it at the top of the spring hat there, sort of just catches the top of the valve. What I do is I pull the valve as far up as possible. Yes, you could say that when you start compressing again, the valve could go down, but to be honest with you, almost nothing is touching the valve now. So the spring should go down, the valve should stay up. the friction on the valve stem or seal is giving us that luxury, and it can't go too far because there's string in there, so shouldn't get into any deep trouble. Now for the collets or keepers. Pop them in. They can't disappear anywhere, don't have to worry about that, you just literally put them in. Now the next thing will happen is that when you start compressing the spring, it might not be very centralized over the valve stem, so you can get into a bit of annoyance. Hopefully we won't. Also, this thing, when there's no collets or keepers in there, is quite tight. So again, just try and, because the compressor can move left to right, I mean you can eyeball it a bit and finger tight those. Now we can turn this by hand. I can look down and I can start to see how well aligned we are. I can actually move it a bit with my finger, and then it will get to the point where I can't move it with my finger. There's no reason why I can't use a suitable tool just to put a bit of pressure on the spring. It's not doing any damage whatsoever. This one actually wants to go the other way, so it looks like, I can't really show you what's going on while I do this, but this is where the pick comes in very handy. Now I'm going to say unfortunately this pick is slightly magnetic, so it's not always doing me a favour, but you just try to guide collet, keeper into place, try and get it centralised over the valve stem. I'll stop for a second and show you a picture. Hopefully you can see it, maybe you can't, but that's now quite well centralised over it, but the spring needs to go further down such that we can get it to go over into the groove. So I don't need a screwdriver, got the pick. This looks reasonable. Right, it's now sitting on top of the head of the valve. I want the head of the valve stem. So I'm just going to try and encourage them into place. One has gone, but that's the one that's got a bit too much space. So screwdriver out. I just want to push it this way a bit, and then encourage the other one into place. And not going yet, so a bit more winding. You can put your ratchet on there if you want. And we are good. They are now both seated. I can wind this one out, and then you'll see nice and even as the collets seat themselves. Now I can swap over to that one. I'm going to do that one next, and then we'll do one thing right at the end when all four are done, which is to go around with the big spark plug socket and the mallet and just tap tap tap. That's just an extra insurance that they are in. They're not caught on something, they're not binding. Now we're just going to rinse and repeat as we go around. So I think I'll stop the video here because there isn't much more to say. Just the things to watch out for, already mentioned. If the keepers, the collets don't sort of free up and the valve just keeps going down, take all this off, get the spark plug spanner and the mallet, whack it a bit more. Alright, you might be able to hear a tiny bit of noise, rattle when they are free. Like I said, I've had one extremely stubborn, which was here. This one was stubborn, all the others, piece of cake. So your mileage may vary. Okay, that'll do.